Gary with Aldan American. Today we're going to show you how we install this coilover kit and rear shocks on our 2014 Chevrolet truck. This kit fits the 2007 to 2018 GM pickup trucks, two-wheel drive. So included with the kit is our front road comp rebound adjustable shocks. Includes the upper brackets, the lower brackets, and all brand new grade 8 hardware to make the installation easy and simple to do in your driveway. The advantage to the coilover is by having the spring seat with our spanner wrench, we can adjust it up and down to change the preload on the spring, and it gives you an adjustment range from about stock ride height to about a 2-inch drop. By being able to do that, it lets you adjust the ride height for the perfect look and the perfect stance that you're looking for, and the dampening on the knob allows you to get the handling and performance you're looking for. Follow along as we do our installation. Before we do anything, the first thing we want to do is record and measure our ride height. So what I'm going to do is go through the fender well lip, through the center of the tire to the ground, and we can see that this car is at 33 3/4 of an inch. So when our 2014 Chevrolet truck came in, we already knew it had been lowered. We had no idea how it was lowered. So I see here that it does not have shock extension. A lot of times what you'll do is you put an extension on the shock to relocate the lower side of the shock so that you can improve the travel in the shock. This one does not, and I also noticed this has a strap to limit the extension. So on this truck, it has airbags on it. So he put a strap on it to limit the extension travel on the shock so he doesn't tear his airbag apart. And so now I'm going to measure the shock. We're at full extension. And so from the center of the upper bolt hole to the bottom bolt hole, we see that it's right at 16.5 inches. So this is going to be our 458 shock. As you can see, I've taken the front fender liner out. I find it makes it a lot easier to get to the upper nuts so that we can loosen them and get the front shock out of here. So this is an original factory coilover shock. So we're gonna have to remove the upper nuts, the sway bar end link down here, and we'll have to remove the lower nuts on the bottom of the shock. Now that we have removed the original shock, we're now going to put our new upper shock bracket. So this shock bracket is going to fit up against the cross member. It has a little bit of a slotted hole so that you have a little bit of adjustment, because you want to make sure that your bolt is going front to rear so that as your A-arms travel up and down, everything travels in the same plane. So now that I've got my bracket with my nuts and bolts a little bit loose, I want to make sure my bracket is straight so the bolt goes front to rear, not crooked. So that way the shock travels on its natural pivot as the suspension goes up and down. We're now going to use our torque wrench, and we're going to tighten the upper nuts down to 35 foot-pounds. We are now going to install our Aldan American coilover shock. This is the single adjustable rebound shock. So on our upper knob, I'm going to go full counterclockwise, which is the softest position. I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3 clicks. I'm going to use that as my starting point. We're going to go out and drive it and adjust it from there. Our lower bracket, it is a little bit different side to side, as you can see, a little different here. And so the way this is designed is to be able to mount it so this goes to the outside of the car, and that way it sits flat on the lower control arm. We will now torque our lower shock bracket to 35 foot-pounds. So we're going to take our lower shock bolt, we're going to put it through the bracket and the bolt, and then we're going to torque it to 75 foot-pounds. The 3/8 hardware all gets torqued to 35 foot-pounds. The upper and lower shock bolts that are 1/2 inch will also get torqued to 75 foot-pounds. Next, we're going to install the sway bar, and pretty much all we have to do is adjust our ride height and go drive the car and see how it works. We're now going to take and set our ride height. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our spanner wrench. We're going to turn our spring seat up. We're going to put about 1 inch of preload on it, and we're going to use that as our starting point. And this is how we do it. Once we achieve our final ride height, I'm going to use this Allen wrench, tighten the set screw in the lower spring seat to lock our position. So as you can see, this kit is fairly easy to install. The front goes fairly smooth. The rear is just a couple of bolts. Feel free to comment below and check us out, aldanamerican.com.